Okay, Chris here. What we're going to do is try use cageedit along with history and flow to tweak a shank. I'm doing this video for Mollie. Hope it's of some use to you. Alright, so what we need to start with, of course, is a finger size. So I'm going to start with a circle from F4, center of world origin, and let's make it yay big. Because we're going to be flying from a flat to a round, we're going to need to know what the length of the circle is. So highlight it and let's hit length and press enter, and we can see from our command line the length is 53.613 millimeters. Highlight and hit Control C. Now what we need to do is draw a line from F4 straight outwards, Shift and Tab to lock it, and hit Control V. You could have just drawn this manually if you wanted to. I like to get myself all lined up nice and neatly. Alright, so we have a circle and we have a line the same length as the circle. So what we're going to do is we can create a fairly basic shape on there. We're going to float onto here with history, and then we're going to play with a bit of cageedit. So let's have a look at creating a rather primitive shape on there. Let's create a rectangle, click from there, and let's make it, I don't know, that big. Looks good to me. Let's move it to the center. M command, midpoint, endpoint, and let's do a sweep with you. Alright, so what we have now is a fairly basic shape, 4 sides, and we're going to flow it from there to here and then start playing with it. Okay, before we do the flow, let's click on record history and highlight the piece, and let's go flow. Base curve is the guy in the bottom there. Control Z. Let's try that again. Let's delete that outer curve so it's not in my way. Alright, record history on. U. Flow. Base curve is that guy inside there, and the target curve is this one. Alright, so let's examine what we got. We flowed a fairly simple shape from a flat curve to this outer curve. Our finger size is inside there, and you can tell by the ISO curves that the join is down the bottom there. Everything's gone well. Right, now we're going to create a cage around this object so we can tweak this one over here. So let's discuss cage. I like to use bounding box when I make a cage. If you read the help on cageedit, there's a few other ways to use it. I'm not going to cover them right now. Let's highlight this guy and type cageedit. Alright. Now, read your command line. It's asking you what's the control object for this. I'm not going to cover line, rectangle, box, or what deformation does for this video. I'm just going to cover bounding box. Alright. Bounding box will draw a bounding box around your object and apply evenly spaced grid points for you to play with. So I'm going to click on bounding box. Coordinate system, we're going to leave it on world, so just press enter. And the first time you need to do any thinking in this command is how many cage points do you think you're going to be needing, and I'm not going to cover degree. How many cage points do you think you're going to be needing to tweak this object with? At the moment, X, if you have a look at our arrows over here, X is this way, okay, Y is that way, and Z is up and down. So if you have a look at X, in other words, how many divisions of points do you want running along the length of the shank? Currently there's 4, so you'd have 1 at the end, 1 at the end, and 2 evenly spaced in between. So depending on your needs, 4 might do it for you. You may want less, you may want more. It's all going to depend on your workflow and what it is you're trying to make. For the example I want to do over here, I'm going to probably need about 6 sets of points, right? So I'm going to go into X, I'm going to type 6. Y point, I can leave it on 4. Z I can probably take down to, I don't know, take it down to about 3. It doesn't really matter for me in the case of what I'm doing now. I'm going to press enter and enter. Alright, so let's have a look what it's done. 1 set of points, 2 set of points, 3 set of points, 4, 5, and 6 along Y. Okay, 3 sets up in Z and 4 sets across. Okay, so what can we do now that we've got these points? Let's examine. We've got a nice flat surface. I want to put a bit of a comfort fit on the inside and a nice D shape along the outside. Because we did this with history, let's examine the top over there. Let's turn this sideways and see what's going to happen. Let's go in, grab the top set of points. Notice that's only the top ones I'm grabbing. I'm going to hold shift and pull it up. And voila, we've got a D shape on our flat, and the D shape flowed through instantly to there. I'm also going to go in down the bottom here, and I'm going to put a slight comfort fit on these guys, like so. And so far I'm happy with what I got. Now I want to make the bottom of my ring lower and the top of my ring higher. So let's examine which control points we're going to be needing to use to do that. To get the top of the ring higher, we're wanting these center top cage points over here, and we're going to grab them and just pull them straight up like so. And notice my ring did get higher. Of course, because of the number of cage points we have, it got higher evenly through to there to the next set of points. So what I can do with these points to try and get that just at the top, I'm going to grab them. I'm going to scale 1D, find a center point somewhere there toward the center of the ring, and let's move all the points towards each other like so, which is going to limit that amount of work. Now I'm going to pull these outside guys and do the same thing. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just moving them towards each other. Right click and scale 1D. Let's find that center point and let's move them towards each other. And we're starting to get a more regular type shank shape over here. I think they could all do with moving towards each other a little bit again. And basically all I'm doing is I'm moving the positioning of the points, and I'm going to grab these outside ones and reduce them a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take these and these because they're a little bit high. Is that right? And I'm going to do a scale 1D again, downwards towards that, like so. And now our shank is starting to look a bit more normal. What I want to do at the top is I want to bring my taper my top in just up the top over here a little bit tighter than the rest. So I'm going to grab these top guys over here, these ones, and I'm going to have a look in my top over here, and I'm going to do a scale 1D. Where's a nice center? Where's a center point for me? There's something. Alright. And let's push them towards each other like so. Okay. So it's kind of almost like sort of sculpting, if you want to think about it like that. You're pushing, pulling the points on that flat section, and the reason I'm doing this on the flat section is because while this is down here and it's using history to float back up onto there, no matter what I poke with over here, as long as I don't touch the bottom points, my finger size will always stay the same. Alright, so let's have a look at let's do something that's not uniform. So far I've been playing with only uniform stuff. Let's grab let's grab these points that we've got highlighted and let's rotate them around the center point, and let's create a bit of a funky top on our ring, something like that. So now, as you can tell, that'd be a really difficult thing to try and pull off by using a curve and creating a sweep. Almost impossible. Okay, I don't know. Let's grab all of these guys and all of those guys, and let's let go their insides with a control, and with a control there too. And let's do another rotate also around that center point, and let's take these in the opposite direction. Let's take in the same direction. I don't know, whatever you want to do. So we've got the really funky shape going on over here, which is something it'd be virtually impossible to flow. You wouldn't to sweep. I mean, you couldn't sweep that if you tried. It would just be it would be crazy, almost impossible to do. All right, so I hope this has given you some idea about how to use cageedit in conjunction with flow and Rhino history. Have a good one. Cheers.